My dual air brake check. First start with my seatbelt attached and door closed. I'm first looking at my needles to see if they're moving. They're not, so I'm going to start with my governor cut in. So I'm just going to lower my air pressure to see when my governor cuts in. I'm going to wait 5 to 10 seconds just so I can see exactly when it cuts in. It needs to cut in by 85 psi. Right there. Looking to see if my needles have started moving, which would indicate that my governor has cut in, and they are moving. So my governor cut in at 100 psi, which is above the 80 by 85 minimum governor cut in. So I'm waiting for the governor cut out, which needs to be by 130 psi, and I'll hear a noise from the air dryer, but I'm basically looking for my needles to stop moving. And they've stopped moving right at about 120, so that passes the test. My next test, engine off, is my static check. I don't have any feet on the brakes or whatever. I'm looking at my gauges. I can lose no more than 2 psi in 60 seconds. So I'm checking for any air loss in the tanks primarily, the lines, everything below my service brake pedal, the fittings, the sending units, the gauges, all that kind of stuff. And so I would wait 60 seconds, can lose no more than 2 psi. My needles aren't moving, so I'm good. So my next test is the applied test. So I'm going to apply my service brake and release my parking brake simultaneously. And so now I've pressurized the entire system to all 4 wheels, including the spring brake chambers, by releasing my parking brake. And so as soon as it settles, which it just did, starting now, I can lose no more than 3 psi in 60 seconds. So I would wait that 60 seconds, looking again for my needle, any movement from my needles, having noted where we began the test, and listening for any leaks. And so I have nothing. So that completes the test after 60 seconds. The next test is the low air warning. So I need my key on, engine off but key on, and I'm going to lower my pressure in the tanks because my low air warning device must come on by 60 psi. So I'm just gently lowering the air in the tanks using my service brake. And I need an audible and visual warning. And there it came on just below 70, so I would say about 68 psi. There's my visual, audible. I have a different alarm. My next test is my roll test, also known as the parking brake test. So I need to start my engine and build up my tanks to over 100 psi before I move the bus. Then I'm going to put it in gear, release the parking brake. I'm going to roll my bus forward. I can also do this in reverse. I'm going to pull my parking brake, and it should stop and hold the bus, which would indicate that my rear brakes are in adjustment. And then the final test is the service brake test. I would drive the bus before picking up students about 20 miles per hour. I would apply my service brake 2 times and holding my steering wheel loosely to see if there's a pull to the right or to the left, which would indicate an adjustment problem, a brake adjustment problem that would need to be addressed by the mechanics. So I now have 100 psi, so I'm going to put it in gear, release my parking brake, with my foot on the service brake, do my 5-point mirror check, and I'm clear. Let my bus roll forward, pull my parking brake, maybe even give it a little throttle just to verify it holds the bus, which it does. So that passed all my tests. I would then drive it for the service brake test, as I mentioned, before picking up students, and that would complete the dual air brake system test.